to speak to you today about what we did, our predecessors, the many branches of the Dominion government and the people who ran them, the treaty negotiators, the Department of the Interior, and Parks Canada. The creation of Wood Buffalo National Park was an act of ecological imperialism. From its first inception, the park was designed to be a place that excluded Indigenous peoples, a place where Canada could extinguish treaty rights. We created a swath of land where vital relationships between human and non-human have been severed. We saw the bison as an exploitable resource and used their bodies to make money. Our park wardens slaughtered bison one day and persecuted your hunters the next. We turned exercising your rights and sovereignty into a privilege. We used racial dogmas to determine who had hereditary rights within the park. And we used a politics of purity to drive communities apart. We separated families. We ignored letters pleading to be reunited. We contributed to the residential school system and intentionally engendered dependency, instead of acknowledging your right to hunt and practice lifeways on your own lands. We chose to believe that pulling the strand of bison from this web wouldn't cause it to unravel. We armed police and then wardens to arrest and harass your guardians. We created a policy of surveillance and intimidation. Even when we built abattoirs and killed hundreds a year, still we kept you from the bison. Our attachment to conceptual borders extends to policing the boundaries between wood bison and plains bison, between pure and hybrid, between contaminated and uncontaminated. Steeped in white supremacy, we did not see how these logics of purity were weaponized against both bison and your people. These imagined borders place bison and Indigenous peoples outside the protective bounds of white and human. This pattern has continued. Our pools of knowledge are shallow, and our spatial and temporal scales are different than yours. Your pools of knowledge are deep and dependent on a connection to place and language. We have come to embrace the term two-eyed seeing, as envisioned by Mi'kmaq elder Dr. Albert Marshall. It is a concept of learning to see from one eye with the strengths of Indigenous knowledges and ways of knowing, and from the other eye with the strengths of mainstream knowledges and ways of knowing, and to use both these eyes together for the benefit of all. But first, we acknowledge that for nearly a century, our laws stripped Indigenous peoples of their treaty rights if they pursued a university education. We tried to outlaw two-eyed seeing. We are ashamed that we fought for nearly a century to avoid fulfilling our treaty commitments to your nations. We apologize to you. We apologize for making your communities fight for what was theirs. We would like to work with you, the descendants of the dispossessed, to make restitution for these wrongs, to move beyond access and towards true sovereignty on the land. We recognize that decolonization is not a metaphor.